And welcome to another episode of South Texas Now. This is attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KRS, KZTV, and Lopez Broadcasting. Remember, we reach out to everybody. Son bienvenidos aquí, soy su anfitrión Joe Flores. Aquí tengo mi invitado, el buen Frank Yzaguirre, que está corriendo para Constable here in Precinct 1. Welcome, Frank. How are you?
Good, good.
I've heard nothing but great stuff. I've seen your signs, so I'm glad you're here. Can you tell us a little bit about your education, training, and background, and introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, of course, my name is Frank Yzaguirre. I've been here Precinct 1, 55 years plus, my whole life. You know, of course, I went to Oak Park, Driscoll, and Miller, graduated from Miller. I started my career in 2009, Del Mar College.
Go Vikings.
Up to now.
Yeah.
I've got 14 plus years law enforcement. I've been married 23 years, got 3 children. My oldest, 22 years old. He's in the U.S. Army. And my 19-year-old just graduated this year. He's getting ready to go to the military also. And then, of course, after that, I've got my 11-year-old daughter.
So you've got widespread here, family man, and yeah, you'd like to get home every time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Go
Yes,
out.
sir.
Yeah, every law enforcement official out there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for serving. You know, I had seen an interview with you, and one thing that struck me was you made a routine stop.
Yes.
My understanding, and somebody had a gun. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, that happens to a lot of officers.
Mm-hmm.
But that one particular day, it was in the daytime, and the guy was hunting off the road, which is already that's illegal. You can't hunt off the road. So I go to turn on my lights, followed him. He ran. He took off for a little bit. So I chased him for about half a mile. When I got up to his truck, it's funny because his window was rolled about this much up.
Oh, wow.
So when I'm facing him, he's here on the side. So all of a sudden, I know what he did. He had a gun right here on this left hip. So what happened was he reached for it and it hit the glass. And at that time, it hit the glass and it went between my legs. So, you know, what was his intention? Why would he reach for it? Well, I think he was getting ready to shoot me that day. So anyway, I took him into custody and took care of that, and with no incident. So,
And
that was pretty good.
This was out in the country?
This was when I was working at Precinct 5 in Robstown. So we were down, man, a county road deep down one of the county roads.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the constables, people that work hard in the sheriff's department, they're a one-man gang when
Right.
they get a call, right? So,
Yep, correct.
kind of walk us through a call out in the country. You know, another adventure you've had, right? Serving. Yeah, tell me about.
Out in when I was at the constable's office in Robstown, I was there 3.5 years. So there was many a times that I worked from 6 in the evening, 6 in the morning by myself. So I'm out in the county roads. You got to take the call. Period. Doesn't matter what the situation is.
Right.
You got to improvise. You're on your own. Of course, sheriff's department's out there, but you know it could be 20 minutes before they get to you. So when you get there, you're taking the call.
And you're first responder if they're having a medical situation too, right?
Correct.
How does that work?
Well, depends on the situation. We got to either call the ambulance, you know, get somebody out there, or you know, if we need to, if it's been a bad accident out there, we've got to coordinate with Halo and get them landed. In the middle of the road, block it off and get them landed. Like on, let's say 624. If that's where we're at, you've got to coordinate, block off, and get them landed. Give them the coordinates and get them down.
And you'd worked overnight.
Oh yeah.
For years.
Correct.
Night shift. So you've been around and campaigning 24/7. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost going on a year, knocking on doors.
Yeah, tell us about the campaign, because maybe some people haven't met you knocking on doors. I know you've been hitting it hard.
Yeah. Well, through the in the primary and the runoff, we hit a little bit more than 6,000 doors.
Wow.
Me and my wife, you know, my wife's helping. It's been rough. It's been rough, and of course now I think we've had a little bit of help from a few friends, you know, dropping off lit pieces. But for the most part, we've hit about 12,000 homes already.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you're in Precinct 1, correct?
Correct.
What area is that? I know there's 5 areas that constables cover, but yours would be number 1 where?
Precinct runs from all of downtown Ocean Drive to Roberts Seaside, and then 5.624, 1889 going to Robstown. And then on the south side, you've got Saratoga from Old Brownsville all the way to Everhart, and it loops back around through Weber, part of the lakes.
It sounds kind of like Judge Benavidez's precinct.
It's exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
His and mine are exactly the same. JP and constables, exactly.
And ladies and gentlemen, he'll be joining us here in a minute, along with Terry Shamsi, your next district attorney. So we want you to be able to reach those doors, the 12,000 you haven't reached, over 2 million people here, and create awareness.
Yep.
Why do you want to be the constable of Precinct 1, El Mero Mero?
Well, for one, I've worked for Precinct 1. I've worked there 3 years. And it is what it is. But I didn't quite like the way the administration was being run. And somebody just came out, you know, you can complain about everything all the time. However, somebody said, you know what, if you don't like it, why don't you run for office? And I said, you know what, that's the only way I could make a change. And lo and behold, I threw my name in the hat, and here I am.
And what is your vision for Precinct 1 for law enforcement there and for the safety of the voters in that area?
Well, my vision is, for one, we've got to have an open door policy. We've never had it there. 2, we have, on top of the main office being at the courthouse, we have a satellite office in Annabelle where Judge Rubio is.
Oh, okay.
All right. So that's been abandoned. They've been using it for files, record keeping, everything. Well, it's a satellite office, so it needs to be utilized.
Absolutely.
So they've never provided security, anything for Judge Rubio. So I want to change that. I'm going to set a deputy there or myself while the judge is there, at least, you know, Monday through Friday, so we can cater to Annabelle and Calallen citizens, because they shouldn't have to come all the way to Corpus to the courthouse if they've got a problem. So I've been out in the Calallen area talking to the people, and they want to see extra patrol, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do extra patrol, and our main thing is civil process and bailiff for the courts. However, like my guys, let's say on the way to serve some papers, there's no reason why they can't make a round or two at any school, because you know our children are pretty vulnerable with today's society.
Yes.
So I know that there's CCISD there, but of course they can't see everything.
That's right.
So if we're making a round or two on the way to serve a paper, that ain't hurting nothing. And you know, we see something out of the ordinary, well, we're going to have to respond to it.
Exactly. Well, we've got a couple of minutes left. It's been an honor interviewing you, but knocking on 12,000 plus doors, why should they vote for you? I know that you pulled it off May 28th and got over 70% of the vote.
Correct.
Why should they vote for you instead of your opponent, who's been unopposed all year long? I mean, just put his name in the hat, right? Your opponent in November, but you've had to bloody battle all the way through. Why? What have you been telling voters? Why should they vote for you?
Well, I grew up in the West Side. I'm still in the West Side, 55 years plus. Another thing is I'm basically the only candidate that's ever worked for Precinct 1. I'm the only candidate that's worked in a constable's capacity. 2, I have my advanced school resource officer that I acquired when I was in Mathis. So when I was in Mathis, I handled I started that program from ground up. I was given the opportunity. So I handled 5 campuses. And thus I got my advanced school resource officer. So I know everything there is of kids. I've had a lot of advanced classes. On top of that, I have my advanced federal records management that I acquired when I was in Precinct 5 in Robstown. So I handled all the records, every bit of records for Precinct 5 in Robstown and Precinct 1. So of course, I've already worked for Precinct 1, so I know what the records are. So I handled pretty much filing of records, destruction of evidence, everything else. So, I mean, I'm the best qualified for the job.
Well, you've been listening to and watching Frank Yzaguirre. He wants to be your constable. He already won the primary, seeking your vote in November. And what's a good number to contact you if they want to get involved? Grassroots campaign.
My number's 361-877-2825. Also, I've got Facebook, I've got Vote Frank Yzaguirre and Frank Yzaguirre. They can contact me either way.
That's 877-2825?
2825.
Yes, and you can join Frank on Facebook land too. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And good luck to you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Frank Yzaguirre, your constable running for Precinct 1. Let's get out there and vote on November 5th in Nueces County. Thank you and God bless.